Do you want to make these stunning summer nails? Well, I'm about to show you how. First, let's go over what we need, which is white gel polish, light blue gel polish, light orange gel polish, light green gel polish, light pink gel polish, light yellow gel polish, clear acrylic nail powder, glossy top coat, matte top coat, and blooming gel, as well as a small and medium dotting tool, 5mm liner brush, and for natural nails, use base coat. And we're going to get right into it by applying our white as a base to all of our nails. I'm starting with the thumb here, and as you can see, this white that I am using is very pigmented, but I still like to do about 2 or 3 layers of the white because just one layer can look streaky and not solid. So it's up to you how many layers that you would like to do, but just be sure that all of the nails have a nice clean layer of white as a base for all of your nails. And be sure to cure each layer for 60 seconds. And this is what your nails should look like with the white base on all of them. Now grabbing our orange, green, and blue, we are going to then go in with our blooming gel on our thumb. And we're going to do a thin but even layer of our blooming gel. Be sure not to cure it because blooming gel only works uncured so that your designs can kind of blend and almost have a soft ombre effect. Now taking our medium-sized dotting tool, we're going to go in to that light green color and we are going to start the placement for our 5-petaled blooming gel flowers. This is actually going to be the base for hibiscus flowers that we are going to do on top of them later. And basically just map out where you would like your petals, and as you do that you can adjust the pigmentation as well as the placement of your petals. And then let it sit for a little bit until you like it, and then cure it for 60 seconds. Now with that flower finished, we are going to go back in to our blooming gel with a thin layer of it spread on the entire nail. This really enables it so that each flower you do has enough room to move, but I like to do each layer at a time for each individual flower so that if I did all of the flowers with the same layer of blooming gel, they would all blend together too much, which I don't want. So this is why I'm going in each individual time for each flower by doing a layer of the blooming gel. And we're going to do our yellow flower. I realize now earlier I said orange when this is actually the yellow, but even if you do orange, it doesn't matter, it's still going to look beautiful. And we are going to do the exact placement as with our green flower and let it sit for a little bit, and then once happy, cure it for 60 seconds. And we are going to do the exact same process for our blue flower with doing the layer of blooming gel, then placing our blue petals, letting it sit for a little bit, and then curing it for 60 seconds. Now we're going to go in to our matte top coat and do an even but thin layer on the entire nail bed, and then cure that for 60 seconds. And now we're going to take our small dotting tool and we are going to go into our green that we started with before, and we are going to get some of that onto our dotting tool, and we are now going to place where we're going to put our hibiscus flower on top by just kind of placing them in the middle of our base blooming flower. And then we are going to kind of do the same technique as I showed in another video with hibiscus flowers, which is going to be kind of making little triangles out of these like bubbly triangles, as you can kind of see here. And these are going to be the tips of our flower petals, and we're going to drag that then down from the sides and then the middle, and we're going to drag that into the center of our flower, and this really brings each of our flower petals to life here. And with our dotting tool, we're going to create the center of our flower and then drag that out with our liner brush to create that signature hibiscus flower look. And we are going to add 3 dots on the sides of the center of the flower that comes out, as well as 1 dot at the end, and this really brings our hibiscus flower to life. Now this is where our acrylic powder comes into play. With our hibiscus flower uncured, we are going to cover it with the acrylic powder. Be sure to cover it thoroughly and evenly so every inch of our flower is coated in the acrylic powder, which the gel will soak up so that it will create a textured matte hibiscus flower. And once done, cure it for 60 seconds. And once cured, you're gonna then want to brush off the excess acrylic powder either with your finger or with a brush. And we are now going to do the exact same process for our yellow flower, which will just be doing the same thing by mapping out where we want each of our petals to be and just trying to make them line up as much as possible. And then, of course, creating those little bubbly triangles to give our petals more definition. And then we can drag it out with our liner brush into the center by doing the sides and the middle of our little triangles. And then finally we can finish it off by doing the center of the flower by dragging it out and then adding our little signature dots to the sides and end of it, as you can see here. And once coating it with the acrylic powder, we will then cure it for 60 seconds and then do the exact same thing for our blue flower. And once we have finished our blue flower with the same process, our thumb is finished. And look at how stunning it is. Then we can set that aside and move on to our next nail, which will be our pointer finger, which we will then do a layer of our blooming gel just like before. And we're going to go in with our medium dotting tool, and we're going to use all of the colors for this nail. We're going to start with our green, and we're going to create kind of like a bubbled ombre all throughout the nail with the different colors, as you will see me do. You can do whatever layering of the colors that you would like. I personally chose to go with the green, the orange, and then the blue, and then the yellow, and then finally I did the pink at the tip of the nail. And if you wanted to blend a little more, you can go in with the different colors and kind of let them bleed into the other colors by adding the different colored dots to the other layers, as you see me do. And then once happy, cure it for 60 seconds. And then we're going to add our matte top coat and cure it for 60 seconds. And then this nail is complete. Now for our middle finger, we're going to do just as before by applying a layer of our blooming gel. And we're going to go into our pink color, and just as with our thumb, we are going to map out our blooming gel flower for the base of another hibiscus flower. And after letting it sit for a little bit and you like it, you can then cure it for 60 seconds. And then of course we're going to do another layer of blooming gel for the final flower on this nail, which will be our yellow color. And then once you have let that sit for a little bit, cure it for 60 seconds. And then we're going to apply our matte top coat, cure it for 60 seconds, and then we're going to go back through and do our hibiscus flowers just like we did on our thumb. And with our pink, we're going to map out where we would like our hibiscus flower and then create those beautiful petals with our liner brush. And once complete, cover it with our acrylic powder, curing it for 60 seconds, and then doing the exact same thing with our yellow flower, the same process, and just create those beautiful hibiscus flowers. I really love these flowers so much. They are really perfect for summer, and they are just super fun to create as well. And once cured, it is finished. And for our ring finger, we're going to go in with our blooming gel. Again, by doing a thin but even layer of it. And then we are going to use our medium dotting tool and pick whatever of the light colors that you like and create a different multicolored flower. And then when you're happy, cure it, and then go back through with each of those colors and create individual hibiscus flower petals. I really like this nail. I think it's really unique and fun. And just keep doing that with each of the colors, just as before. Same pattern, same hibiscus flower as previously. It's just a little bigger and there's multiple colors this time. And as you paint it, you can do little tweaks to it however you would like. And then once you're happy, you could do the center of your flower, apply the acrylic powder, and then cure it for 60 seconds. And finally, for our pinky nail, we are going to go in, of course, with our blooming gel and do a nice even layer of that. And we're going to create a gradient with the orange and pink. Now this is going to be our seashell nail, and you can create the gradient of the orange and pink however you would like by doing thinner layers so that you have more orange and pink stripes, or you can do it a little thicker like I did. But then once you're happy, cure it for 60 seconds as we have done with all of the other layers on every other nail. And then we're going to go in with our liner brush into our white, and we're going to outline where we would like our seashell design by starting at the tip of the nail in the center and gently pulling it up so it creates those beautiful lines. And you can do that however much you want on the nail going to the cuticle. But then once you are happy with it, we can then go in and cure it for 60 seconds. And then we are going to apply our matte top coat and of course cure that for 60 seconds. And then we are going to go in with our glossy top coat and liner brush, and we are going to then trace over the white lines that we had put down. And this will then create a beautiful shell pattern. And of course, like I did, you can go back in and make the design more textured if you would like with that top coat. But once you have cured that, your nails are finished. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.